Hello there, and welcome to another Friday night live stream. Okay, just wiggle around there with the camera. There we are. Hello. Tonight's live stream, I'm hoping to cover a couple of different things, figures, a little bit more on washes. I'm going to do a wash on the tracks of the Abrams that I'm doing, and also just a little talk about aircraft. Yeah, just a little bit about aircraft. I do have another one or two aircraft underneath here, which I must sort of get ready to get out before people join me. Nobody's joined me yet. I wonder will anybody join me tonight. Ian, how are you? You're first in tonight. Hope you've had a good week. I'm just rooting around here under the table. I want to get my hands on some kits that I have hidden away down here. Ian, hello, how are you? John, hello, and Brian, hello there again. Just before you kind of joined me, I was just kind of introducing the video before anybody kind of actually came on, because as you know, it'll be up on the channel during the week, and I'm not going to kind of sit here looking at an empty screen. I basically said what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to do another little bit on washes. I'm going to do an oil wash on the tracks of the Abrams. I want to talk about figures. I have a new little figure set, which I've Panzer 3, nice one. Oh, you retracted that video or that message. I was just halfway through reading it, Ian, and but anyway, I want to talk about figures and a little bit about aircraft as well. I'm not very big into aircraft, I must admit. I've done a few. I did. Let me think. I did in 1/72nd scale. I know I did a Spitfire. I did it in Irish colours, actually, because the Irish had Spitfires well after the war, and they had them for quite some time. I did Stuka. What else did I do? Oh, I did Corsair. They were all in 1/72nd scale. I also did then the Phantom, which came out very, very nice. I really liked how that came out. And with the Phantom, I'm giving it to my son. He's I'm waiting for him to collect it. So excuse me now, I'm just going to duck down under the table because I want to get my hands on one or two kits that I have down here. They're more aircraft kits. I have a big box under the table here with some of my, I suppose people would call it their stash. Isn't that what you call it? Stash. I know when I say a couple of kits, I only have two. There's that JU88, and I have a little one as well. There we go. So now, just checking, is the sound okay? I'm all time sorry. You bought the Tamiya Panzer 3. Is that the new one? Is it, Ian? The new Panzer 3. There's a new Panzer 3 out at the moment. I think there is a new Panzer 3 out from Tamiya at the moment. I'm not 100% sure. But just looking at some kits that I've got sort of to do. There's some aircraft kits. I have a little Focke-Wulf F190. Okay. And I have a JU88. So they're on my to-do pile. So that's sort of aircraft. Just in case people say I don't do aircraft, I mean, I'm not a lover of aircraft. I've never really got into the aircraft. I remember as a kid when I kind of got into the modelling thing, I was always with the armour, and my brother did the aircraft, and I'll always remember he did a Dornier, and I thought it was absolutely fabulous. I thought he did an excellent paint job on it, but that was at the time. He was 2 years older than me, so I'm trying to think back how good was it actually, considering that it would have been done with the sort of the enamel paints, but it must have been good because I was impressed at the time. I was making my little tanks, my little 172nd, or actually it would have been 176th, weren't they back then? The aircraft, the Airfix ones, and it was very bright, but I did some of them, and those little tanks I used to very badly painted, and for a finish I kind of gave up on painting. I actually put the decals straight onto the plastic and I played with them, and that's what my modeling was. I literally did I did my models for playing as part of my little setups. You know, I used to have a big I was big into trains as well, and I was lucky enough that my bedroom was quite large, and I had a big sort of the 8x4 sheets of chipboard. I had two of them in a kind of an L-shaped, and I had my train tracks sort of set out on that. And I remember I had an absolutely fabulous Hornby steam engine, and I painted it black, badly painted it black, but it was grand for me at the time. And I had sort of loads of flat cars, and I just put my tanks on that, and I had kind of a military base, and I used to have fun just in all that kind of setting up thing. I wasn't actually kind of going those type things. I had all the fun with the setting up of it, and I suppose you'd call it sort of a prelude to making dioramas, really. So that's it. Let's have a quick look at the chat. Johnny Metcalf, hello, how are you? Harry Lafontaine, I hope I got that right. Oh, Henry Lafontaine, sorry. Ian, how are you? Ian James, hello, Ian, how are you? You like the Stukas? Yeah, I like the Stukas. They're kind of, as planes go, they're pretty good. Hello from Wales. Hello. Mr. P, have you considered trying Airfix 135th armor? I have looked at a couple of videos of people that have done it. Now, there's somebody doing one of the Tigers from it, and he seems to be having a lot of problems with it. So I don't know. I'd love to. I have been tempted quite a bit to buy one of the Airfix ones, because basically Airfix is where I started, and that was really all that was around. And when I saw that they started doing the 135th scale, I got very interested in it, and I was going to order one at one stage. Then I kind of checked out on YouTube, and somebody put up one, and I wasn't impressed with it at all. They'd come some problems with it. And again, then there's a chap doing one at the moment, and he seems to have, a lot of fit issues with it. So I think there are Reeboks of Revell or something. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know the lineage of them at all. Dirk, how are you from Belgium? Big B is in Norwich. Nick is from Sussex. Hello, Nick. How are you? I've just finished the Airfix Priest. Instructions were a bit vague here and there. Yeah, but then, instructions have been, even in this kit now, I that I'm doing at the moment, the Academy Abrams, and it's actually a newish kit. It's the one here with these IndieLink tracks and all that. And I found that the instructions could be a little bit better, especially when it came down to, say, small parts, they just sort of showed the part and, you know, the number, and then they showed the part fitted. And you weren't really kind of getting the proper angle, you know, to the orientation of the part. You'd kind of go on a couple of steps and look at different things just to see exactly how it looked. So I wasn't really that much impressed with that. I like, in general, I like Tamiya instructions because they're usually straightforward. Right. Let's get on to the wash. Okay, we'll start with the washes. Now, so I'm going to bring the camera. I'm going to bring it down onto the desk, bring up a bit of light. I'm going to make a wash from white spirit oil paint, and I'm going to apply it onto the tracks. And I'll just show you how I apply it. We're going to leave it kind of semi-dry, as where the basically the white spirit will evaporate off. Come back to it in about 10, 15, 20 minutes, and I'll show you then how I kind of clean it off then, because I'm going to kind of watch it. Everything will be explained. Okay, so now there we go, down onto the bench. Hope that angle suits everybody. Right. Oh, is that okay for everyone? Okay, here's my tracks, right? Let's get the light back on here again. Now, these are these IndieLink tracks. Okay, and that's the stage I'm at the moment. Now, as you can see, they're all painted up nice and factory fresh inside and out. Okay, so to get them to that stage, what I did was I gave them a coat of NATO black. Then I used a mixture of dark iron, which is XF84. Mixed that with a bit of Hull red. And I got my base color then for the tracks. I sprayed them completely over with that. And then went over all the pads inside and out, okay, with XF85, which is rubber black, right? So, no. For the wash, little container. I love these little containers. As you can see, I'm not advertising for Johnson's, but Johnson's cotton buds, they come with a little tub. These the tops, absolutely fabulous. Cheap as chips, because you're already getting your and it's something we use. We use plenty of cotton buds in cleaning off. So also I use this, which is Winsor and Newton. Right, and it's yellow ochre. Okay, now it's probably a bit too much, so I'm going to end up making a freaking little bit too much wash. Right, so little smidge of that. White spirit, as I've explained before, I use cheap as chips white spirit. I find that the cheap white spirit isn't as strong, say, as you know, a recognized paint brand one. They're a little bit better, and so they're not as strong. Okay, and because they're not as strong, they'll work perfect for what we're doing. Now, normally I'd when I'm, say, applying a wash, this type wash to the vehicle itself, I'd give it a gloss coat. But because I'm going on the tracks, I'm not really bothered too much with that, because it's only just sort of, this is the first part of the weathering. Okay, so nice bit of white spirit. Pretty long bristled brush, cheap as chips one. The Humbrol Airfix Humbrol Airfix brush. I think it was one of those ones that I got free with you know, actually I think I got that with that horrible 1/24 scale Spitfire. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to make a color that is perfect for kind of a dust coat. Now, I know this is a bit light, but I want it light because for a finish, I'm going to go over that again when everything is dried and set in place. I'm going to go over it then again with a black wash. Which will darken it, but it'll give you kind of the two colors in it. And the black wash then will basically make it little areas stand out that little bit better. Now, this is only something I'm actually kind of more or less trying out. I have a fair idea how it's going to work, but shall we say it's still kind of experimental. Don't worry, I'm not going to wipe my arse or anything like that. This is just a little bit of extra protection. Now this crappy old cotton mat anyway. I have my good cotton mat there as well. All right, so this is the piece of try. I'm just going to do one at a time. I'm going to do one of them. Now, as you see, I have a couple of pads missing on that, purposely left out, because initially what I was going to do was I was going to have it pretty roughed up, okay, as in, you know, pretty well weathered and a couple of track pads missing off it. There was a chap that commented on some of my videos there. He was an ex-Abrams tanker, and he basically explained how, you know, track pads, they regularly get chucked off and, you know, gone over sort of sharp rocks and things, can kind of pull the pad off. And I was going to go down that line, but for a finish now, I've decided to go against that. I'm going to kind of do it very, very lightly, very lightly weathered. Now, keep it stirring because I don't want any clumps in it or any lumps in it or anything like that, because I'm not. Do you know the way normally with a pin wash you put in little drops, and you know, be very, very careful in it. This is as simple as that. All right. Now, I find when I'm doing a kind of an overall wash like this, that circular motion is much better. It kind of gets right in there into where you want it. Because if I just say did that, as you can see, it doesn't really show up that well. One second, I'll just give the camera a little bit more of a closer look as to how this is coming out. Now, I'll only do one tonight, and the reason being is I can use the other one then to show you what it's all like for a finish. Now, I want plenty of wash on that. But like I said, remember, I'm going to be cleaning off as well on the pads once this works its way in, and once the white spirit is actually evaporated off, because that's what happens. The white spirit will evaporate away and just leave back the yellow. Now, I don't really want the yellow too much on the pads, but I still want it there. If you're doing this, don't be tempted to turn it over and try and get the underside done all at the same time. This is one of those things that it does take time. You know, I wouldn't use this kind of wash on a vehicle itself. But I wouldn't sort of apply it this way. But on the tracks, it's different. What I'm trying to do really is get that dust effect without using pigments. Okay, if you can catch me drift, as the saying goes. All right, so I'm going to leave that and leave that dry, as in let the white spirit evaporate off. Right, so we put the camera back up to my ugly mush. So we'll come back to that in about 10 minutes, and I'll keep an eye on it there, and I'll show you what I'll do next. Right. Anybody any questions on what I've just done so far? Don't forget you can stick them up there in the chat. Right, back to the chat here again. The Tank Museum sometimes has some hard to get hold of kits. Managed to get a Commodore A34. Yeah, I have been on their site. It's one of the channels that I do love watching. I love watching their tank chats. Especially when he was in lockdown, he did a lot of them there from his garden. And David Willey, Mr. Willie, he did a lot of those ones from his garden, and I found them very, very interesting. Hi, Kev, how are you? John, hello. I am well, thank you very much. Mr. B, only built British armour now. Love the Churchill, but find the AFE clip kits a bit fiddly. Never did an AFE club kit. Very nearly bought one once. It was in my local hobby shop, and I just thought it was a bit expensive for what it was. It was an artillery piece, and they were looking for kind of silly fucking money for it. So that was actually before I found buying online. I was afraid about buying online. Then I found Model Hobbies through a friend of mine, actually. It was through Simon Kemp put me on to Model Hobbies, and since then I've never looked back. And it's cheaper for me, actually, in Ireland to buy my kits from England, pay the exchange rate, postage and packaging, and it's still cheaper than buying a kit in my local hobby shop. It's still cheaper, and it's cheaper by a long shot, especially when it comes to paints. Paints are ridiculous. I'm paying €3.50 for a small small bottle of Tamiya paint, whereas I can buy it from England for £1. I think it's 120 or 130. And if you're just buying one or two, then I'd buy local, given the little bit of business that I can. But when it comes to you're buying, say, 10 or 15 paints, ridiculous. What else do I wanted to talk about? Figures. I bought a figure kit. As you know, I've done two in the past. They're 1/16 scale. Okay, I got my Mr. German chap here, right? 1/16. I really enjoyed doing them. I bought these from AliExpress from China. China, as good old Donald would say. And I bought his wife as well. Okay, a little bit of skin showing there. She's quite sexy. Really liked how her face came up there. Okay, got a few makeup tips from the missus, and I showed them then to a friend of mine in town. Well, I showed him actually photographs of them, and he asked me would I do one for him for his mantelpiece. So I said sure, no problem. I said, you pick up the kit, I'll get it and paint it and do it up for you, and you can pay me for it afterwards. So he said, okay. We went online and he picked out a kit and I ordered it. And believe it or not, it was held up in customs here in Ireland for the last 3 weeks. And it finally came there the other day. So excuse me, I gotta stand up. Yeah, easy. So here we are. Okay. Now it came from China, but yes, if you look at the thing here, the postmark is from the Netherlands, right? Where it came from. So yeah, it says it came from the Netherlands. But yet when you open it up, it definitely came from China because it's wrapped in news. The top bit of packaging is a bit of Chinese newspaper. So if I could read Chinese, I could catch up with the Daily News. It's probably from Wuhan, telling us all about the. I won't say it. But anyway, this is what's arrived. Now I'll have to bring the camera back down again now to the table because I want to lay this out because this is actually a lovely little set. Now it did cost me like these figures here. They were 12 and 13 euro, and that was free postage and packaging. The one he's after picking out for me was actually 30 euro. Again with free postage and packing. Right now, there we go. So it comes like this, all nicely packed up. They are resin. This is 2 figures. Okay, one fella kneeling down. Well, both figures are actually kneeling down. But if you can look at the detail on those, okay, they are absolutely beautiful. You can see the quilted uniform on these guys. They are Fallschirmjägers. Okay, but their faces are absolutely fabulous. Look at that. The detail on those is absolutely beautiful. Loads of cleaning up on them, obviously. As in, with these, I suppose they don't call them sprue bits. What do they call them? These bits, the extra bits that are on them. They got to be removed. But there's 2 figures. They're both Fallschirmjäger, German paratroopers. Right, loads of little pieces. And loads of little pieces. The only bugger of the thing is no instructions. Lovely, nice bits of flash. Loads of flash to clean up. So there's plenty of clean up on them. And there's the helmet and a bit of clean up around the back of that. What have we got here? That's what I'm saying. I don't even know what they are. After there's his water bottle canteen. We've got a hand, another hand, and they're basically with a little 28-20 anti-tank gun, but it's the airborne version of the little anti-tank gun. Loads and loads of cleanup, little flash and everything on those. But resin does come like that. Plenty of cleanup on the resin parts, but it'll make up. Like I said, it will make up a little artillery piece. That's probably his arm. Hey, saying that little Stumpy McStumpy Stumps. Pity they're not numbered. Pity you don't kind of get instructions because you got to kind of play around whose arm is this. Oh no, it's this guy's arm. You can see how neatly now that fits in. Okay. And once it goes in there, seamless. Absolutely beautiful fit on those. Okay, so plenty of little figuring out to do. There's the wheels off it. But it's one of those little interesting little subject. So that is going to be fun. I must admit that is going to be fun. These seem to be ammo case, ammo boxes. There's the barrel of it. Like I said, there's shields. It's a kind of a double shield thing. It's a double shield on the front, and you've got a little shield at the back of it. So I literally have to work off the photograph of it, the photograph of the made-up thing, to see exactly what it's going to kind of come out like. I don't even know what half these pieces are. Like I said, they don't come with instructions, so you got to kind of figure it out for yourself. I suppose that's part of the fun of it, isn't it? But I have all these pieces together, so I'm going to make a little base for them. I will do a video on it. But like I said, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting anyway to see how it comes out. If there's anybody out there that's experts on resin stuff, like I said, these are the only things resin I've ever done, and I know that well, I think it's only super glue that works with resin. Is that right, lads? Thunder models, camel transporter, yeah. Boo, 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 boo. I'm just reading through the chat here, lads. Sorry, so that hence the hairdryer would speed it up, yes, but I don't have one to hand, and I'm making enough noise as it is. And like I said, just let it dry naturally. That's drying away here, as you can see yourself. That's drying away grand there. Wanted to try a Mark 1, but could only find the AFE, so putting it off at the moment. Yeah, that's getting back to the the Churchill, isn't it? I do more figures, but I'm terrible at faces. Yeah, I'm not great at faces myself, but I do like these 1/16 ones. If you look at that chap's face now, he's kind of, when you look at it up close, he's actually not great, but when you sort of look at it back a bit, it's actually quite nice. Yeah, I'm quite happy with him, and I really like the way I got the fur on his collar. The colours aren't showing up great there at all, but he came out absolutely lovely. Really, really enjoyed doing him. So I'm kind of looking forward to these guys as well. As far as I know, these uniforms will be white. It's the quilted winter uniform. So I presume it would be white, which is grand because you can get a lovely, with a bit of washes and things like that, you can get them quite nice. With the white, you can get a kind of a nice sort of dirty look about them. But I love the detail in these, in the resin. I mean, if you look at that for the Mauser, really, 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 really nice. Really, really nicely detailed. So I am looking forward to getting this all made up. If I can figure out what goes where and with whom. Like I said, it's a pity it doesn't have instructions. But luckily enough, the chap that I'm giving it to knows feck all about it. So if I leave something off because I can't figure out where it goes, I don't think he's going to notice that it's missing. Just hope he doesn't show it to a feckin' expert. Isn't that it? I think that's what we always pray for, that when we do our kits and we show them to somebody, that person isn't an expert at on what we're actually doing. But I'm sure once I start building this and doing my, my daily update videos and things like that, I'm sure somebody out there will help me. I'm praying that they do, because, like I said, no instructions doesn't leave me very much leeway, really, does it? So, oh yeah, this Abrams is coming up very, very nice. There's the if you look at the detail inside there, right? The detail inside there is absolutely beautiful. It really, really is. Now I've got that part painted. I'm going to finish off the wheels. I have a couple of them done. Just have to sort of, I've got the rubber black on them and the ordinary color on them. Got to do a bit of touch-up work on those before they're fitted. When they're all done, then I can kind of weather this section here. It'll be a case of gloss coat, oil weathering, then go fit in the tracks and everything else, dull coat everything, stick it back together again, then I can carry on with the rest of it. It's a slow process. Nothing is fast. Then again, I like the fact that it's a slow process. If it's too fast, then you're kind of you don't seem to get your money's worth out of it. And I like it, say spend what 40 or 50 quid in a kit, another say €5 worth of paint, so that's 60 quid, say, all told, around that. And then, if you've made in a week or 2 weeks, I don't like the idea of that, but I like that. If I can drag that out for a month, I'd be happy as hell. 60 quid for a month for your hobby, that's not too bad at all. I know that, say, a lot of the other, say, YouTubers now, that would have, say, 20, 30,000 subscribers and things like that. And some of them there have a lot more very, very sort of professional setups and all that, which is why they've got 20 and 30,000 subscribers. I'm amateur as hell, but I want to stay amateur as hell. That's the whole purpose of it. I would like to upgrade my equipment, but I'd still like to stay sort of the total amateur side of it, whereas it's a hobby and it's there to be enjoyed rather than I'm not going to go entering competitions with my stuff. I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't even get an honourable mention. No mind winning prizes with it. I do it for the enjoyment of it, and I know that the whole purpose of me doing it on YouTube and sharing it on YouTube is basically to show people that you don't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, nuts and bolts in every right places. You don't have to go through every process when it comes to weathering and going off and buying all the products and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to go down that line, and you can get a lovely, lovely finish for pence compared to, like with that wash. I've no objections to people that go off and spend fortunes on shop bought washes. Off you go, buy them, but it's not for me. It's not for me. Same with when it comes to aftermarket tracks, Frual model tracks. I'd love to be able to afford Frual model tracks for all my kids, but is it a case then that you're buying that quality rather than, say, getting something that isn't that quality and making it look that quality? I've had some kits there that are rubber tracks, rubber band tracks, and you can see the whole track, and I'm glued down onto the wheels and things, and they actually look just as good as any Frual tracks would come up, being 100% honest with you, that they can get them perfect and get them actually looking like metal. They really, really look like metal. And people have said it to me. People that have actually held it in their hand and looked at it and say, "Oh, they're metal tracks." I said, "No, they're actually rubber or vinyl or whatever they call it." But you can do that. Isn't that better than somebody saying, "Are they metal tracks?" And you're going, "Yeah, they're metal tracks." It's back to the chat again. Any tips for a decent skin tone? I use Citadel Carrion Flesh for some of the with an AK engine grime wash. Yeah, I've been there's one I used to use the whole time, but I can't seem to get it. I'm trying to find somebody that does Citadel, because my local hobby shop does it, because they're more into a lot of the games, and they have models, kind of a couple of models at the side, but they're more into the the Warhammer and all that kind of stuff, and they do Citadel paints. So I'm waiting to kind of get in there, but with the lockdown again, we're back in lockdown. I can't get in there, but there is a one. It's called Kislev Flesh, or Kislev Flesh. It's a Citadel. I don't even have the empty of it, do I? Do I have the empty of it? Boom, boom, boom. What's this one? That's Zandri Dust. That's base. No. There's one that's called Kislev Flesh, which is actually quite good. What I'm using at the moment is Model Color Sunny Skin Tone. Okay, I've used that now in the last couple. It's a little bit light, but it's a good base start. At least then if you go putting washes on it. I mean, I'd use that wash, literally that wash that I just made, for kind of darkening it, and then kind of give it a little bit of a black wash then over that, and that'll kind of show out these creases here that some of us old people get. And same with the eyes, because I don't go painting eyes. I don't paint eyes when it comes to figures. I found that any kit that any especially 1/35 scale, any ones that I have done in 1/35 scale where I've painted the eyes, they look frightening. They really do. They look as if they're sort of out of a cartoon with the big stark eyes. And if you look at a person from a distance, I mean, even when you look, when I'm looking at the camera here and I have the screen in front of me, you can't really see the eyes. You can just sort of see kind of a little kind of a black spot. You can't really see the whites of the eyes. It's only when you're actually really close up with a person you really see the whites of their eyes. But from a distance, you just see a kind of a little dark spot, really, isn't it? And I find that when I go painting and trying to paint the eyes in, they just look horrible. So I decided against that. A good wash actually for figures. I don't have it again. I don't have it because, like I said, I stopped kind of buying washes. Trying to remember the name of it now. It's a Citadel wash. Agrax. Is it Agrax Earthshade? Yeah, Agrax Earthshade. It's a lovely wash, and it's grand on figures as well. You just put it on, leave it for say a couple of seconds, not too much, because the longer you leave it, it just dries and you won't get it. It won't come off then. Leave it for a couple of seconds, and then kind of clean it off the cheeks, top of the forehead, chin, and things like that, and leave it in the creases, and that's actually quite a nice wash. It's lovely on uniforms as well, but it's a kind of a cheat to a certain degree, whereas if you use it the whole time like I used to, I found that you kind of go off it very, very, it's hard to describe. The more you use it, the less you like it. Does that make sense to anybody? The more you try to kind of, I think the more you use it, the less it looks realistic. But Yeah, I don't like it. Shane Smith swears by the stuff. He loves the stuff, but he does it. He just uses it as part of a regime. Whereas at the start, what I was doing is I was just using it, and that was it. That was just wash, no more. He uses it as part of, say, a process of other washes and things. Um, but I was doing it sort of the wrong way. And then when I kind of figured out how to do it properly, shall we say, at that stage I'd learned about the making my own washes with these things, with it was a knife, with the oil paints, and I find them work just as well. Like I said, same as what I'm going to do here now in the tracks. It's part of a process, whereas you use, say, 3 or 4 different washes on the one vehicle or figure, or in this case tracks. But I usually start off with the lightest wash, then put in little touches of dark wash, right, with the tracks now. I will get up closer now. As you can see, that they're starting to dry, right? Now on their own, that wash on its own is not going to say work 100%. It's not going to do the job. But when I go on then with a darker wash, the black wash now, filling in where let's say the end caps and all that kind of stuff is on them. Right, see if I get a close up there on those. Oh, see what I mean? I'd love to sort of upgrade my equipment where I can get decent close-ups. But there's a little kind of bolt detail in the end caps, and black, just a little touch of black into each one. Use it like kind of like a pin wash into each one, with the light color down. Then that does the trick. So let's go back down to these. They're pretty dry. They're quite shiny. Right. I'll show you my next process with these. Right. Right. So there you go. And as you can see, it's quite stark and looks absolutely horrible. So Q-tips, white spirit. You just put a tiny little bit into the cap. Right. With the Q-tip, but give it a roll on the tissue. Now I'll do it here where it can be seen and it can be kind of noticed. Now I'm not trying to rub it all off. I'm just kind of sort of slightly work it in, but get rid of any large collections of it. Okay, so you can, it's not really showing up well, unfortunately, again. But as you can see, just give it a bit of a clean off on those, on say the center pieces, right? A little bit of a clean off. You don't want, you just really want to kind of get rid of the where it pools. And unfortunately, with say these type washes, compared to say a lot of the products, products have I find have kind of a drying thing in them, where they dry a lot faster than when you're, say, doing a home wash. Plus, the thing about a home wash is, as well, you would kind of have to give them a dull coat afterwards, because you're going to end up with them quite shiny, which sort of is the nature of oil paints. When you put them on plastic, for some weird reason, they kind of get a bit on the shiny side. But it's nothing but a quick rub of or a quick spray of dull coat will kind of get that all nice. So, like I said, you just want to sort of spread it out a bit once it's pretty dry. When I say dry, I mean as in most of the white spirit has actually worn away, or not worn away. What am I talking about? Has evaporated away, right? I try not to kind of, say do things like that, because I don't want to end up with streaks. Because unfortunately, sometimes you won't even see it until the whole thing is fully dry. And then you can see streaks in it, and you literally have to kind of go covering up all that. But what you wanted to do is you wanted to collect in little areas, say, just off the pads, down into, say, the link sections. And the yellow ochre will add, say, to your metal. It'll kind of give it it will help the rusting part of it. And when that dries as well, that will kind of leave a sheen to it, right? Whereas you can kind of see it, where it looks like a kind of a coating of dust, dusty. It's really noticeable when you put it beside one that hasn't been done. Okay. Now, I hope that kind of okay. No, unfortunately, I can't kind of fast forward to tomorrow, where it'll be drier again. And tomorrow, then what I'll do is I go over that then with the black pin wash. Same idea again. Make down my pin wash. I make it a little bit thicker than that. That was a bit. I want that quite. Brain is not working today. I want it quite light. Okay, more white spirit than wash, and because I don't want it to be thick. I don't want it to be stark. Black pin wash, then just a little bit thicker. And when you make down a little container, a little thing of it like that, handy little items then for holding your washes are these yucks here. We're all old. We're all on tablets of some kind or another. Keep your containers, because they're handy then for keeping the washes and things, as long as you don't spill them. Right, let's get back to Slán Ihawa, John. Well, thank you, Del. If you look at that Del there, it says Slán Ihawa, John. That's goodbye and good night. Okay, that's in the Irish there. Del, I wonder, is he gone? Because I wanted to kind of ask him a question there. If you're not gone, Del, judging by what you've been saying to me all along, in comments here, the thing. You Army yourself, Irish Army yourself, and because you said you were overseas with them, so obviously, are you still serving, or are you ex-army? And what battalion were you with? As in home unit. Okay. John Mason misquoted my wife. Is it less is sometimes more? Yeah, definitely a lot. I find that with a lot of stuff when it comes to weathering. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. The more you use, the more you can make a hames of it. And definitely less is more. Unless you want to go for the sort of like I have seen some I have done it myself in the past where I've really, really over weathered a kit. I've over chipped it. I keep looking over there because it's on a Tiger that I did, and I actually won a competition with the bloody thing. But when I look at it now, I kind of over chipped it and rusted it and things like that. It's a Tiger. I'll just go get it there and I'll show you. Makes it easy. Oh, there we go. It's a little bit on the dusty side, right? No, we'll hold it up. Okay, there she is. Now, when you look at it, say from a distance, you say, "Oh, that is really, really nice." But I think that I kind of over chipped it in a lot of areas. It's very, very dusty. Ugh. You can see there on this. Now, at the time, what happened was basically I was in the process of learning how to do kind of rust and things like that. And I did definitely over chip it and over kind of rusted it. That's a lovely kit. I think that's the Zvezda one. I'm not 100% sure. It's the one that's got a sort of a bit of an interior turret to it. But I did the hairspray chipping on that, and I personally think I sort of chipped a bit too much off. Okay, I think I chipped a bit too much off to make it realistic. Now, as a standalone piece and as a model, it looks absolutely fabulous. But realistically, I think is a bit too. I don't think they'd have got to that condition in reality. Are you still serving, John? 23 years next June. Serving in DFHQ 6 Koi. Oh, so you're up in Dublin. Dublin, isn't it? DFHQ 6. Spent a bit of time up in McKee myself. Yes, Army School of Catering. Cook. I did a cook's course in 97. I was up in McKee. Stopped cooking then about 4 or 5 years after that. Lasted for about 4 or 5 years, burnt myself out, couldn't stand cooking anymore, and went back then to being an ordinary Joe Soap again. How did you get the brown to blend into the dark yellow so well? To be honest with you, I don't really know. It was just one of those things that worked. I at the time I did that. Now I've that done about 2.5 years now, and I was going through a kind of we're all going through a learning phase constantly, but I went for the soft. I think they call it a soft edge. Is it for camo? whereas you kind of go heavy in the middle, and as you're coming off with your when you're doing the now I can pop this off here. We can pop the top off there. I presume here with that you're talking about that, all right? Trying to get the light to behave. Right? There we go. When you're doing, say, that brown stripe there, make the center heavyish, right? And lighten off then as you're going into the sides. Okay, so if you see it's darker in here and it's lighter as it goes out, and don't worry about what kind of size. It's sort of like an overspray, if you know what I mean. And it's just that's the Tamiya's red brown, and for some reason it just kind of does that. So that's just how it goes. And but you kind of feather it out, feather out the coat. Like I said, I was learning at the time, and I don't think I've actually tried that technique since, because I've never gone for, say, those two colors together, just on their own sense. But it does kind of it looks, the paint colors before I weathered that or anything, I thought it was absolutely really good. I was really chuffed with it. Then I went ahead with the hairspray chipping on it, and with the color I had underneath, which was Hull Red. I don't know if you can really, it's a freaking light. I really, as you can see sort of a chip here with the Hull Red underneath, right, and black and washes and things like that. See here, there's another big, more big sort of chips. I kind of went to town a bit on the chipping on that one, and like I said, it's a bit unrealistic. Okay, if I could kind of get it that it's realistic chipping is I find is so hard to do. It really is. So anyway, anything else? You're in McKee, started in the 2nd Battalion in Brua back in the 1990. All right. I joined the army in 1987. Okay. Trained in Collins's Barracks, Cork, and got transferred then up to Limerick, the 12th Battalion. Is the equitation school still going there in McKee? They were kind of a bit hit and miss there for a while. McKee Barracks was an old British Army barracks here in Ireland, and of any military barracks I have ever seen, it is one of the most beautiful looking barracks you will ever see. Do you agree with that, Del? There's a rumor going around. Well, I don't know whether it was a true story or not, but it's a very interesting story, not just for, say, Del, for you chaps outside as well. When the British ruled Ireland, they built loads of barracks around the place. And if you ever go into any of them, they're all basically the same. Okay, you've got a big square in the middle, and it's surrounded by big, dull, grey buildings. Okay, dull grey buildings. Whereas if you go up to McKee Barracks is all ornate, and it's red brick, and it's really kind of shall we say the story that goes behind how McKee Barracks was built. When you look at it, it makes sense. Apparently, the barracks was originally supposed to be built. The plans for the barracks were originally supposed to be built in India, and the commanding the chap that was going to be commanding officer of the barracks in Dublin, shall we say, grabbed the plans, legged it over to Ireland, pushed a few bits and pieces here and there, and got the barracks then built in Dublin. And it wasn't until it was built and they came over from England to check it out, how the barracks got built, because somebody in India whinged that this big grey dull building in India didn't match in with all the other buildings around it, and there was this big ornate type little minaret towers and all that kind of thing in Dublin that didn't match it with all the grey ones. But that's the story behind it anyway. Whether you find that interesting or not, I don't know. But Jacob, my uncle joined the British Army around that time too. Around which time? Oh, yeah, the late 80s, early 90s. Dirk, I joined the Belgian Air Force in 1986. Beat me by a year. It's amazing, yeah. So you were a senior soldier, yes. The Horsey School is still there, yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely is the only all red brick barracks in the country. Yeah, I'm in 8524. That's just kind of Del will know what I'm talking about. What else? Any more questions out there? Right. Wolfman, practice makes perfect. It does. It really does. Like, you'll try out something, you'll go on with it for a while, and you'll try to. And there's a couple of, when I look back on some of even some of my older videos and things, and some of the vehicles and tanks that I've done, and I've tried out different things and saying stuff. Yeah, no, if I do this, that, and that to it, no, the next time it might come up better, and you end up then never doing it again because you've gone overboard on it and you learned something new, but you lose parts of, say, that technique. Especially when it comes to weathering, basic painting and basic building I mean, they're the easy parts. Panzer, if you keep doing that now, and I just have to sort of eject you, please don't, you're an 854. All right. Yeah. I'm an 852, so senior soldier. I'm gone now 10 years, so no longer serving. Yeah, getting back onto weathering. Weathering is one of those things that you can't really weather everything the same. Then it gets boring. And you'll have, if you're doing, say, a diorama with 3 or 4 vehicles in it, then you're going to weather them the same if they're from the same unit and things like that. But it's one of those things that I find, even watching say, seasoned modelers, it's always something that they're always trying something new. You're never really satisfied with the one type of weathering. You're going to go on and you're going to try different things. You'll try different products, make your own type products. When it comes to me, I'm willing to try anything. I'm not afraid to try anything. If I ruin a kit, then it's ruined. I don't care. At least I know that idea didn't work for me. Don't be afraid to try. don't be afraid to try anything. If you know, don't be afraid. All right, let's boom, 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 boom. No, there we go. There's Mr. Penzer will deleted. Ian, I'm going to have to say good night, John. No problem. Good night to you. Oh, it's 12:15, 10:15. Time flies when you're having fun, lads, doesn't it? I hope to. I know I'm a bit all over the place. That's the thing about, say, doing something live as opposed to, say, doing a video on current updates and things like that. I kind of tend to waffle on a bit. So I'll say good night as well, lads. Hopefully it went okay. Hopefully you sort of with the tracks. You know, I'll do a video tomorrow. No, I won't do it tomorrow. I'll do a video Sunday. Okay. Whereas I'll have both sides of that done, and I'll have the black done as well. And hopefully I'll have the tracks finished, and I can kind of explain on from there what more that I've done to them, and you'll see hopefully that the idea I'm going for will work, because I'm literally trying. Oh God, another person to kick off. I don't speak Russian, and no. Hopefully it'll work out. Okay, I'm trying something. As in, I've seen this done by somebody where they just basically plastered everything on, wiped away off the track rubbers. He used different colors, and he actually used products. Whereas I'm going basically, I'm trying. I'm basically just chancing me fucking arm, giving it a lash with that wash, and the process that I'm going to try and do. Hopefully it'll work. Hope, you know, if it works, then yay, bonus. And if it doesn't work, I always have the rubber tracks to fall back on. So anyway, lads, I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully next week will be a little bit more organized. I say that every time, don't I? I just kind of tend to waffle on. Don't know when to shut up. Wife told me that. The ex-wife told me that as well. Many, many girlfriends. Many sergeants in the army told me to shut up loads of times as well. So anyway, lads, bye-bye. Take care. Enjoy your weekend. Don't get too scared on Halloween, and be nice to the trick-and-treaters. Any kids that do call it up, obviously they're going to be local, so be nice to open the window and throw sweets out of them. You can't exactly mix socially, can you? So enjoy your Halloween, enjoy your modelling, be nice to one another, stay safe, and go out and buy yourself a kit, build it, and enjoy it. I'll catch you in the next one, lads. Stay safe. Bye-bye.